For many, there's nothing quite like a vine-ripened Arkansas tomato this time of year. Salads, burgers, and of course, BLTs. Bradley County has a variety named after it and will host a festival celebrating it this weekend for the 69th year.
Vine-ripe tomatoes taste so much better. The summer tomatoes is just a better tasting tomatoes, and that's the reason we do have a better market.
But South Arkansas tomato farms are declining.
It's not an even playing field.
Ashley County grower Stephen Carter says there's less than a dozen commercial producers left in South Arkansas. Imports now make up 70% of the U.S. tomato market.
Since 2000 to 2023, imports from Mexico on tomatoes is up 176%.
That's the reason we're not raising 160 acres of tomatoes anymore.
James Meeks has decreased his tomato field in the last decade from 160 to just 60 acres today.
We had a huge tomato industry over the last 100 years that have shrunk tremendously just because tomato imports are just from Mexico are so much cheaper.
Their inputs for their crop are not as expensive down there as they are here. They're not held to the same growing standards down there that we are here, and that's a big concern for America. I think food safety is a great thing, but hold them to the same standard that you hold me to, and if it costs them the same money to do what it does me, then we got a level playing field. If they're paying the same for labor that I'm paying here, then we got a level playing field. If they can only use the same chemicals I can use, see, they banned some of the chemicals in the United States to where we can't use them here, but they can use them down there, so we've lost tonnage. It costs us more to produce our tomatoes. We're paying more to have our tomatoes worked and harvested, but then we all get to come and work in this and sell in the same market. It's not a level playing field at all.
Everything that's gone on in the last several years has increased input prices. Labor goes up every year in the state. You almost make the same amount here in Arkansas in 1 hour that you would in a day in Mexico.
I understand when we don't have any produce available, why you get it from these other countries, but they don't have the same rules and regulations we do. I can't compete.
Help could be on the way, though. Most Arkansans probably haven't heard of the Tomato Suspension Agreement, even though it's been around since native son Bill Clinton was president. It's been governing the 4 billion pounds of tomatoes annually grown in Mexico and sold in the U.S. the past 30 years.
This has been a good crop, pretty well disease-free.
Many growers believe the current agreement has failed to protect the U.S. tomato growers from unfairly priced Mexican imports. But it could be canceled next month with a new duty or tariff of 21% taking its place.
Putting this tariff on there would bring their break-even point up to where they could have to stop selling tomatoes cheaper than what I can produce them. And not only this, think about this, how many goods leave the United States going to another country that don't have a tariff put on them to support? And why are they doing that? They're doing it to help their local businesses, to help support their governments and their money. But if the money comes here and the farmer gets it, we're going to turn around and pay it into more tractors, more land, more inputs into the crop. It's going back into the local economy. I don't understand how anybody could be against it. I mean, what are those guys putting into your school system, into your city council, your governments, your local economy, your American economy? They're not putting anything into it. They're putting it into their pockets or their Mexico government, I guess.
My concern is what is going to happen prior to the tariffs. Don't know what somebody else is going to do, what's Mexico is going to, if they're going to dump tomatoes on top of us, try to clean their warehouses out. That concerns me.
The tomatoes you see today in the grocery store are more than likely from Mexico. You know, one thing that Mexican farmers have that we don't is they can farm a lot more throughout the year, whether it be in the field or in a greenhouse. Here we're all field-grown tomatoes. The good thing about that is we have quality. We have the flavor, the taste, consistency.
You pick them green before they have to be off the grocery shelf, I would say a month. I'm not saying they're good that long, but they'll green and then slow ripen them in Mexico, and then they'll ship them up here and keep them cool. Where our tomatoes are already picked, turning pink, people want these tomatoes.
Anybody that says the tariff's not a good thing for the American tomato farmer is because they're farming in Mexico and they don't want to have to pay the tariff trying to get their product inside the United States.
A lot of the companies that own ship tomatoes up here are American-based companies. It's cheaper to raise them down there and ship them up here than it is to raise them up here. That's economics.
I'm not big enough to do that. My market is in the United States. So I need the tariff. And I need them to quit postponing it. They need to go on and implement it. And July the 14th may be too late to help me this year, but it'll definitely help the farmers farther north than me, and it'll help me next year.
I am sick and tired of it. I'm used to not bother me, but it would be nice if we could raise a crop and compete on a level playing field and know that we could get our inputs back. But it's getting to the point that tomatoes only go so far high, and then people quit buying them.
The tariff is a good thing. In the long run, it's going to work and do exactly what they want it to do. Some of them are talking about there's going to be a shortage on a round tomato, a shortage on a grape tomato, a shortage on a Roma tomato. There could be on the startup. But like with anything worthwhile, it could be hard to get started. But once it gets implemented, the American farmer will grow, they will change, they will adapt. We will plant more acres of different tomatoes and cover the shortage that's coming out of Mexico and fix that problem in time. But not only is that tomato tariff going to help us shift acres off of certain other crops to fix the shortage that could be potential in tomatoes. Well, when we do that, it's going to relieve pressure that's on other commodities in the United States, put in more acres of tomatoes. That's going to help the cucumber market. So it's got a win-win.